All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm going to show you a really quick video on how to replace a ball joint boot. So I have here, I'm going to replace both. This is the rear knuckle and this is upside down. This is the bottom. This is the part number for the boot for the bottom. It just comes with the boot itself. This is the part number for the upper boot, which comes with a few other pieces, the circlip to keep it on. So I'm going to just show you, I showed you in my last video a while ago with the carbon 6 knuckles, how to do that. But I'll show you again in this is just a dedicated video for ball joint boots. So let's get into it. Okay, so first step is to find the ends of the circlip, which there's one end right here and there's one end on the top right here. So I like to use just a regular hook pick. You can use a flathead. They do make special tools for this, but that's not something I have. So this most people are going to have this stuff. These are usually pretty cheap at Harbor Freight or Home Depot. With the old boot, so mine is split, as you can see right here, and it just split recently when I was taking off my lower control arm and letting it dangle. When I let it angle like this, it put a lot of pressure on here and split it. So I know that this has not been open to the elements. I have not been driving it on this. It just split while my car is up on jack stands. So in this case, I'm going to take off the boot. I'm going to test out the ball joint, make sure there's no slop, make sure it doesn't need to be fully replaced. And then I'm probably just going to re-grease it and reboot it. But in the case that your boot has been torn and you've been driving on it, there could be tons of debris in there and you might have lost a lot of your grease, which would also accelerate the wear on your ball joint. So you may want to, in that case, just replace your ball joint completely. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, again, since this one's ripped, you could technically just cut this off, but I'm going to show you how to do this if you were wanting to save the boot for some reason, which you wouldn't wanna be if you're doing a ball joint boot replacement. But anyway, this is how I do it. Just grab one end and drag this around, and there you have it. So this is the circlip off, and then now you'll be able to just remove the boot like this. So what I'm going to do is save a bunch of this grease and just pack it back down in. I made a post like this recently on NSX groups asking what kind of grease OEM uses. I use this in a pinch. People said this is okay to use too, but it's not as thick as the OEM stuff. OEM stuff is super thick, so I like to go ahead and, especially like I said, if it's not been open to the elements, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'm gonna scoop it out and put this back in there and just reboot it. So at this point, I want to test out the ball joint. Movement is good. I'm grabbing it, I'm pressing in and out. There's no play, there's no knocking. So it still stays in position. It's pretty good. So this ball joint I'm gonna call good, and I'm just gonna reboot it. Okay, the boot is on. So now it's time for the circlip. I gave it a little bit of a wipe down, and if you saw my last video, what I like to do is put a little bit of Shin-Etsu grease on it. I like to put a tiny bit of Shin-Etsu grease, and I end up wiping it off afterwards too, just to coat the rubber and make it a little bit more slippery, since again, I do not have the special tool. I think the special tool is shaped like a socket to get these on, but I haven't had any issues using my methods. So basically, I will just slip it on, and you just want to make sure that these ends of the circlip are slightly sharp. So you want to kind of open it, get your nails. I get my nails on each side of the clip like this, my thumbnails, and I kind of just evenly push it down so that I don't put any kind of, because if you try to grab one end of the circlip and open it up, it ends up prying the other end of the circlip, tightening the other end of the circlip, and digging into the boot. And you don't want to tear your new boot. So let me turn it sideways for you guys so you can see. So basically I got one end, you can see all the way down. I could just go all the way around and pull it down, but it might grab this other end and again put pressure into the boot. But so I prefer to kind of pull the whole thing down just like that. So again, that's how the grease helps. And there you go. So after that, I just wipe off the grease. The grease won't hurt it because it's meant for rubber Shin-Etsu, but you don't want it to stay on there and attract dirt and pebbles, because these ball joint boots do crease a lot, right? And you don't want to trap rocks in there and give a higher likelihood of higher chance of damaging your boot over time. So that's as easy as that. So you got a brand new boot in there and you're good to go. So that'll do it for this video, and thanks for watching.